Hello friends, welcome to Southern Seasons. My name is Jody and I am so glad that you joined me today. If you love decorating, DIYs, thrifting, French country, shabby chic, and a touch of farmhouse, then this is the channel for you. Today's video I am going to be doing a couple of thrift flips, but before we get started I want to give a shout out to Becky at Kinda Shabby. Now, I just recently found her channel and I think that you will enjoy her channel if you haven't already seen her. So please do go over and check her out and make sure that you tell her that I sent you. You will not be disappointed and you will definitely want to subscribe to her channel. Alright, so now let me show you what I am going to be using for my thrift flips. Now, I found these a few years ago at the Goodwill. And I do love them the way they are. They are Tuscan, but of course I want to go more shabby chic French country. And these were $2.99 a piece, but I did get them half off. So let's get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to show you these a little bit close up here first. These actually pop out. These are not one solid piece, as you can see. So I am going to be taking these out and I will be removing the tags on the back here, and I'm going to be using that side. I'm going to keep this the way it is just in case I want to use those again. So let's take the other one out. So what I'm going to be doing, like I said, I'll take all the tags off the back and I'm just going to be using my white chalk paint to paint these. Now that these are painted, here you can see I still have the other side. Like I said, I might want to put those back in, so you never know. What I want to do is, to make these French country, is do a little bit of sanding to them, as you can see here. I'm also going to be using this Harlequin stencil that I have, just using a black paint. I'm going to center this here in the middle because this is not quite big enough to cover the whole piece of wood. And I'm just going to be stenciling this on. This is actually kind of a rustic Harlequin. It's kind of got little broken pieces on it. I think this is going to look really good. So I'm going to get both of these stenciled up, and then once these are dry, I am just going to be taking some sandpaper to it and making it more rustic-y looking. Take a little bit of the paint off, just to lighten it up a little bit. It got a little too dark in some spots. And I've already done the other one. This is my last one to get done here. Now, the next thing I want to do is start working on those outer frames. And I'm taking one of my molds here, and I'm just going to be using some hot glue in this little mold right here, just this one. I'm going to be making 4 of these because I want to put these on just one of the frames. Now I'm going to let this dry, and while that's drying I'm going to be working on some IOD molds using my paper clay. I'm going to be using this big fleur-de-lis in here. Just going to put my paper clay in here real quick, because this is going to go in the middle of one of the squares here. Okay, just going to get this in here, get it all smoothed out where it's more flat, and I'm just going to let it dry just for a few minutes. Now that I've waited a few minutes, I am going to be popping this out, and I'm going to be using my E6000 and I'm going to be gluing it to the board while it is still a little damp, just so it doesn't curl up on me. I want it to stay flat. I will be setting this aside to dry, and it does take a day for this to dry fully before I can do any painting. Now I also want to do another mold off of here for the other one, and it is going to be the rooster. Now I'm going to be doing this one the same way as the fleur-de-lis, and again I'm going to be waiting a day to paint these. I'm actually going to paint both of these black, and then I'm going to do some highlights on them. Next, I'm going to be popping out my molds that I made with the hot glue. Got to trim them up just a little bit. I did make 4 of these. I'm just going to be hot gluing them on to the corners of the frame, and then I'm going to have to do probably a couple coats of my white chalk paint on them because I do want to do a little bit of antiquing on here. Now I'm going to be taking some sandpaper on here and I'm going to be distressing this frame. I forgot to say this is actually a metal frame, and it was nice it was a dark color already so I didn't have to paint it dark first. I'm just going to go along all the edges and get this all distressed out. And I can't distress the mold, so what I have to do is use some paint on those. So what I'm going to be using is this deep taupe paint, and I'm just going to take my brush and just lightly brush over on the molds. And that will make all the details of the molds pop out. Okay. And I'm just going to add a little bit to each sides of the molds too. I think that will look really nice. So I've taken some of this blingy ribbon from the Dollar Tree and I cut it in to the strips of the sizes that I need. I'm just going to attach it with Mod Podge on here, and once that dries I will be putting some of the white chalk paint over it because I don't want it to be blingy. You could have it blingy if you want, but I don't want it to be blingy. And once the chalk paint dries, I'm going to take some of the deep taupe paint again and just go over the ribbon that I glued on. And that is going to finish it for this frame. Now that this is all dry, this is the next day, I'm just taking some of my white chalk paint and I'm just going to brush on a bunch of highlights on here. I want it to look a little more gray, but I didn't want to paint it gray. I do want to bring out the details on here. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this one, and I'm going to be doing the same technique with the rooster. And this is a dry brush technique that I'm doing. Now with the rooster, I glued him down a little further because I wanted to put some words up above. So I made this little banner on Canva, and I'm just going to cut it out of the paper here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut really close to the banner here. So I think I want to do some edging on it a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, put a little bit of paint on it. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so I decided to not do it that way. I went ahead and cut out really close to the banner. Just decided to make it nice and neat on here. Just going to Mod Podge it on. I'm going to put a lot of Mod Podge on the back here. Then I'm going to line it up as carefully as I can above the rooster, and I will be putting more Mod Podge over this to seal it up. And this is all that I'm going to do for this one. Alright, before I show you how these turned out, I want to let everybody know that I'm participating in a collaboration with 2 good friends of mine, Antoinette Decorating and Indiana Jones. We are doing a Mackenzie Childs inspired spring DIY, and that is coming up on Friday, so you don't want to miss it. Now here is how they turned out. I really love these. So, you know, you can always use ribbon and everything and it kind of looks like metal. It really does. I like it this way better than the blinginess to it. And of course on the rooster one, all I did was distress the frame only. Alright, that is going to do it for the video today. I hope that you enjoyed it. And please make sure that you go check out Becky's channel. I do have it down in my description box below the link. Make sure you tell her that I sent you. I want to wish everybody a very wonderful day, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye for now.